Check, check. Hope everything is working now. All right, slow start to the stream. First time I'm streaming on the Mac in quite a while, and we'll just start everything up. Nothing was connecting. Had to reinstall software and reboot a few times, and now everything magically works. Gotta love OS updates. All right. I don't think anyone's in here, but I guess I'll just get started. As many of you know, I pretty much done putting any kind of effort into my videos, so anything I want to talk about won't be a fancy edited video or semi-fancy edited. I guess the lowest effort way to keep creating content is just to stream it and give you my thoughts, or whatever the subject's about. So, what is this about? What am I talking about today? Huh, good question. So, I'm getting ready to go on do some hiking here soon. Getting back into hiking. Had kind of a slow start to the season. Actually, for the past year or so, I've been having foot problems for some time, and now my foot problems are actually gone. They're actually resolved. And I started looking up, hiking videos, get myself motivated again. And there's tons of hiking content on YouTube, and then some videos popped up that caught my attention. So let me switch here. All right, this pops up. Video about three young influencers that apparently died hiking Half Dome. Like, huh, interesting. I didn't hear about this. I spent a lot of time in Yosemite. I track a lot of the news around the parks, hiking community. I was like, this is new. And so, I pulled up the video and I was like, I got to see what this is about, right? So let's just rewind it here at the beginning. And let me actually make sure the volume's up.
Now, you might think that Half Dome is just a normal hike with cables for tourists. And these three influencers thought so too. They called it just like the gym as they filmed and posed. But their arrogance sealed their fate in a single horrifying afternoon.
I was like, okay, wow.
Did to this trio.
There's a big accident. I never heard about it. Where have I been? I know I've been busy working lately, but geez, how busy have I been?
Will make you understand exactly why it's called one of America's deadliest hikes. It was Saturday, the 12th of June, 2021.
Okay, so here.
It was
in the right
Saturday,
spot here.
The 12th of June.
So, 12th of June, 2021. Apparently a big accident, right? I'm like, damn, okay. And immediately what I want to do is start looking up news articles. So I hop over here and I look up June 12th, 2021. Did three women die hiking off Half Dome? No. No, not at all. It cites other incidents of people dying. I was like, okay, weird. So kept watching, right?
2021. And the sun had not trail matching excitement.
I'm going to jump
honestly,
forward a little
they
bit.
had every reason in the world to believe they were about to have the best day of their summer. I wish I first. Jenna Marie Morton.
All right, so he starts naming some young ladies. First one here is Jenna Marie Morton. Well, where my mind goes is looking these people up, right? I couldn't find anything when I originally searched. So I look up a Jenna Marie Morton, and nothing really comes up about obituaries. What I do find is I do find this Instagram of a Jenny Marie Morton, right? And it kind of looks like her. In fact, I think it probably is her. I was like, huh. Look at the latest posts from 5 weeks ago. Seems to be active, alive. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I keep watching.
Was 28 following by posting travel cards. She showed up narrating her own, the artist.
Okay, so then he names a third one here, Maya Farnsley, who then I look up. I don't really find anything. But I do find some Reddit links here. I'm like, huh. Okay. What's that about? We'll get into those in a bit.
One of the group. Always, she had built for the quietest.
And now he goes to Chloe Gable. All right. So I was like, I got to find something. So I look up Chloe Gable, and I do find some young ladies. I don't really find anything matching that exact picture, for sure. It's like, okay, what is going on here? So we jump forward a little bit farther. Okay, here, about right here.
Shift. The sun was wandering into her. Showed online more. Chloe fell pushing to catch up. The waterfall online experience people make about risk.
Forward.
When the goal further, Zarmina Jaffrey.
Okay, so then he names this Zarmina Jaffrey. I was like, all right, look that up. Does not come up at all. I'm like, what? What's going on here?
Was making her own solo climb. Zarmina was 29, a medical resident from Chicago, and she had started.
Yeah, he says medical resident from Chicago, so I'm figuring he must have pulled this off the web. Well, then I should have found something, right? I'm not finding anything. I'm like, is this guy just making crap up? So I go and I look at his other content, and I find this video here. Let me refresh it so we start the thumbnail. And it's about these two young ladies that they killed their guides or whatever. I'm like, okay. And the date he cited was August 9th, 2019, at Grand Tetons. I looked this up. And I don't find anything. But there is this video of fictional influencers that match the names that he mentioned, Mackenzie Sorrell and Ivy Cerno, who I look up and I don't find anything. I'm like, what is this nonsense? Right? So I go to the channel. Now I actually start looking around. And I'm scrolling and I'm just seeing a trend. I was like, these really look like AI, you know. And I will say realistic AI, you know, the detail in the people looks convincing. But definitely something's off here. I was like, wait, is this guy making stuff up just for content? Well, he does have this video here. We'll watch real quickly.
Hello, everyone. Last week, I got some pretty bad news. This channel is currently no longer part of the YouTube Partner Program. So at first, I was pretty disappointed, but almost immediately, I actually just decided to turn it into an opportunity and create something new from this. So I want to bring The Last Hike and The Last Walk,
which that was a channel I didn't know about. We'll take a look at that in a second.
Together into one channel, make it more personal, and expand the stories we cover. We'll dive into cases involving hikers who disappeared or tragically lost their lives in national parks, national forests, and other remote places across the wilderness. The new channel is actually officially live right now. It's called Wild Stories with Joshua. You can find the link down below in the description, or simply click on the first video from the new channel that is on your screen right now. Thank you so much for all of the support.
Okay. So I don't know why I got demonetized. I have a couple theories. I go to the Last Walk channel, and again, same kind of thumbnails and same kind of stories. And I'm starting to wonder, is this just complete fiction? Now, there's nothing wrong with fiction if you state it's fiction, right? And this is his new channel right here. Actually, this is the one that he had, The Last Walk, he mentioned. And this is his new one, which is, he started posting 6 days ago. He's already got 15,000 subscribers. And again, same nonsense thumbnails. I was like, what is going on here? So let me switch here. I became very suspicious and I started doing some auditing. Let me jump over to full screen here. I was like, is this like actual what AI slop is? Real AI slop. I don't hate AI. I think I will hate how some people use AI. So I started doing some investigating, and let me set things up really quickly to show you. Give me just a moment. I'm switching between a lot of different screens here. Come on. Where is it? Now I can't find what I was going to switch to. Do all this planning and then nothing works out. There we go. Okay, so what I did do was I grabbed all the URL data off the website. I can go over that in detail a little bit later. I worked with AI to help me parse all this data, to pull all the YouTube links from his videos, and then to write some scripts for me, which I did here, various Python scripts, shell scripts, to use some command line tools that you can use to download. We can download YouTube videos. YouTube doesn't like that. But you can, what I use them for is to actually download the closed captions from videos. So what it did, it went through 99 of his videos. It pulled all the captions here from all his videos, all the transcripts, and it read all the transcripts. Now, why did I go through all that trouble? Well, let me show you actually. And let me switch back over to, okay, that was the channel. Oops, not that one. This one. Kind of worse than Mike Zero Vibes, in my opinion here. Let me actually go over what I discovered. So I audited his content. 99 videos analyzed, over 800,000 words in the transcripts. He's totaled 3.7 million views. So we knew he was monetized, so he's making a lot of money. One of the things I found, and this is the part that bugged me, is AI did not find any mention, and I only watched a couple of videos. I don't want to give him tons of views, but I found no mention where he did a disclaimer that what he was doing was fiction. Honestly, if he just started every video or even ended the video or put in the description that like, hey, this is work of fiction, this never happened, this is creative writing, that's fair. 100% fair. Be honest, right? So I had AI analyze his transcripts. It could not find any disclaimers. It could not corroborate any cases that he claimed happened in any of his videos whatsoever. And so he even says, like some of the descriptions, welcome to my channel. I'm Joshua. And in this episode, I will share the real story of a woman who insulted the park rangers and was found dead. Okay. So he's actually saying real stories. Now, if anything had happened, right, people can try to make the argument with saying, well, just because you didn't find anything doesn't mean it didn't happen. True. However, accidents in national parks are very well documented, publicly documented. Here's some right here that actually happened. In fact, that's kind of how this channel originally grew. Wasn't a national park video, but it was a case of a family that died on a hike a few years ago. And that's how I grew my initial following on this channel. I was covering the details of that. Now, how are these fabrications built up? They mention real trails, real roads. Every place he mentions is a real destination. He does mention actual timelines. So, 2021, Angel's Landing, there was no permit system yet. That was mentioned in one of his videos. So they use a little bit of facts in the videos. Plausible meteorology, heat warnings, Furnace Creek in Desert Valley. A lot of people, in fact, very recently, someone died in Death Valley. Now, when he mentions that his channel is no longer part of the partner program, he doesn't mention why. I suspect it could have been a couple of reasons. One, based on what I found when I looked around, this would be a good time to jump over here. Let me switch browsers really quickly. When I was looking him up, trying to understand what's going on, actually looking up the people who mentioned the videos, I started coming across pretty recent Reddit posts where people had cited this one and another channel I'm going to talk about in a minute for false information. Here's one right here. And people were saying that they were reporting them for false information, which I think is valid, actually. Like I said, it's completely fair game if you just say, hey, this is just, fictional writing, whatever. But to pass it off as real events, get monetized, and then profit from it, it's pretty dishonest. And why does that upset me? Well, some of you know, I've been openly outspoken against YouTube, how they moderate the platform, how many people they have pulled monetization on, or even flat out removed their channels due to bots making mistakes, flagging cooking channels as inauthentic content. I've had my content flagged. Everything I have appealed, I've won. But then you see these people that are growing these channels, 15K, getting monetized, probably making some money. And they're just, they maybe get their monetization pulled on another channel. Well, clearly he's just moving his content to another channel and his subscribers over. The first channel is 15K. The new channel is already 15K. And if I can figure this out it took me about 15, 20 minutes, YouTube should be able to figure this out. Now, he doesn't seem to use, I can't prove that he used real people as for his stories. There was that one case of the young lady, which I think that might be her, and I might send her a message on Instagram to let her know. It's like, hey, someone's using your name and your picture in videos saying that you died. So I'm probably going to reach out to her, because if that was happening to me, I'd want to know. Now, why is he doing this? I mean, well, obviously people want to make easy money on YouTube, right? Everyone's afraid of losing their jobs to AI. So they're using AI. So there is this channel right here, Kyle Hates Hiking. He's almost at 1 million subs. He's legit. He is actually legit. He actually talks about real stories of people dying or getting injured, disappearing in national parks. Now, I don't actively follow him because I don't need doom stories about one of the things I love doing all the time. Sure, hiking's dangerous. Driving's dangerous. Going to McDonald's can be dangerous. I don't care. This guy's made a pretty big YouTube presence just on horror stories of hiking in national parks. But at least he's honest. He actually does cover real stories that have actually occurred. Now, how accurately he covers them, I don't know. I don't dig that far into him. But he's at least not making up names. At least anything I've watched. I have not watched all his content. I've researched some videos, found the news articles. I was like, okay, this is valid. I don't know where he gets all the information that he talks about in the videos, because some of the stuff he talks about is only covered in like local newspapers and there wasn't much information online, they'd still be able to squeeze a 45-minute video out of it. So I'm not sure where he gets all the information from, but at least the base story actually did happen. And so I suspect that people are seeing this as an easy way to make money. An easy way to use, in my opinion, AI to make money. And I'll cover that in a bit, why I believe it's AI without proof. So I suspected he was like, all right, this is pretty easy genre to profit in. Sit in front of the camera, tell some terrible story about people that died hiking or in a national park or whatever. But while I was looking around, I also came across this channel. And hold on a second. I came across this channel right here from a different person. So I didn't want to watch him, give him watch time. This is clearly a different dude. But same kind of thumbnails. Same kind of, it looks to be same kind of nonsense. Now, I haven't investigated this channel yet, to be honest, but I'm already pretty suspicious. Now, this guy's been going at it for about 6 months now. At about 22,000 subscribers. So I do wonder if Homeboy here was trying to copy this person. Same kind of format thumbnails. So why am I making a stream about this? Why should I care? Why should you care? Well, you don't have to care. I'm not telling you have to. But I think this is a good example, in my opinion, of what is AI slop. Looking at his output volume, the videos published 99. He's averaging 1.114 per day. Published narration is over 800,000 words. Original script text only 369,000. Re-narrated from earlier videos 430,000. Equivalent volume days of multiple uploads 26. I mean, that's a pretty high turnaround. Yeah, anything within 6 months, right, SJ? So even though I can't prove indefinitely this is AI, I feel this is AI, and I think this is actually a very good example of AI slop, and probably slop that YouTube's not catching. And honestly, I wouldn't even be making this video if they were just like, I'm just doing this for fun. Like, these are, you know, fake stories. Okay, whatever. But I do have a problem with it being dishonest. Profiting, well, other people who are not being dishonest on YouTube have tried to run legit channels have been punished. So anyways, have you heard huge evidence table, the breakdown of all his videos, named victims, the location, the date, the views on each one. Listen, I've had some videos go, you know, 5 figures in views. You do make a good little chunk of money off that. Oh, these people are profiting. Definitely some 6 figures in here. But you know, I had AI help me search on the dates, on the incidents, locations, the names. What do you see? No record found, no record found. He seems to do these compilation videos where he regurgitates and reuses a lot of information. Again, no record found, no record found. This is his statement where he says, quitting YouTube. Same thing, no record found. So the method that was used in this investigation was, I parsed 3 saved channel pages, extracted 99 unique video IDs, built a URL manifest, downloaded the English auto captions, 0 failures, so I had 100% coverage, converted all captions to plain text, scanned all descriptions and transcripts for disclaimer language. That's one of the things I wanted to look for. I was very specific. Find me any language where there's a disclaimer, where they're just saying, hey, this is fiction, this is made up, this is AI, whatever. Couldn't find it. Extracted named individuals, ages, claim dates, claim locations from each transcript. Searched 65 named individuals, 6 event level claims, against news archives, NPS releases, and obituaries. Ran positive controls against known real park facilities to validate the search method. Ran shingle-based text comparison across all 99 transcripts to map which compilations reuse which standalone scripts. And so on. You can see everything that I did here. So all the testing and everything. Why does this kind of matter to me? Why am I covering this? I'm not objecting that someone wrote fiction. It's that fiction is being presented as documented fact and monetized with no disclaimer to an unlimited audience. And you read a lot of the comments there. People are just like, wow, this is terrible. You should stay away from the national parks. It's like, my God. Where I have an issue is the harm is kind of practical. People planning trips to these parks, they're going to look up names of the parks, and they're going to see these kind of stories and potentially get turned off. They're going to forward it around. They're going to believe it. Fabricates the trust in the safety system. And it's a real misrepresentation about how people actually do get hurt and die in the parks. So that's kind of, the issue I just kind of took with all this. I was like, wow, this is real. This to me is kind of AI slop that I don't make a point of really just going around reporting stuff, and I can't prove this is AI, but it definitely feels like AI. Reading on Reddit, though, a lot of people are reporting this as inaccurate information, willfully inaccurate, or whatever it is. I can definitely see why they would do that. I don't object to that at all. I think it is pretty dishonest what they're doing. Let me close out some tabs here and free up some memory. Stop giving these people some views. But yeah, here's some of the threads. Yeah, this guy came up in a mountaineering group I'm in. So how do I pull this information? Oh, let's actually go over that. How do I do my shenanigans when I'm doing this? All right. So just first part of this video was me calling BS in these channels. Now I'm going to show you how I go about calling BS. All right, so I'm going to right click on one of these. Now most of your browsers will have some sort of inspect feature down here. Yeah, that's the thing, SJ. I know people that were getting their channels hit, and I thought I might because I've used AI to make my thumbnails. Now, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with making thumbnails out of AI personally, but there have been creators that have been nailed because their thumbnails are too much alike, and the system thought they were, quote, using AI. All right, so go in the inspection panel. You get all this nonsense right here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go up. I'm going to collapse some of these divs. Now, what I'm looking for is these div tags right here. I think this will do. Let's make sure I have all this stuff here. Make sure it renders so it populates in the HTML. Okay, so that's kind of what I got to do. So I figured this way back during the pirate software thing, when everyone was content farming pirate software. I was going to make a video on it, but then I just didn't really care enough to follow through with it, so I never did. But what I did was I actually did something like this for pirate software because everyone was talking about how he always, would claim to work for Blizzard, which he did. I'm not saying he didn't. And everyone would use the same, like, 8 or 10 examples of when he mentioned he worked for Blizzard. And I was like, but does he really talk about it a lot? Let me reset this. Inspect. I think this might be what I need right here. I'm having a hard time finding the data. Hold on, let me try this again. So what I did was I did something very similar. I pulled the transcripts. And I looked for the occurrences when he said he worked for Blizzard. And honestly, over like several years of videos, and the guy literally streams 7 days a week, like 7 hours a day, I found like a dozen mentions. I was like, is that really, like, as people were saying, he brags about it all the time? Was he? I mean, I'm not saying he's not a dick, but was he really bragging about it, all the time? Because my search results weren't coming up with that. So I just want to get this data up here. There we go. All right, I think this is the div tag I want. So I usually grab this, and I'm just going to hit copy. Let me create a new folder for this project here. Give me just a second here. This I didn't really plan to do, but screw it, we'll have fun. This one's called Last Climb. So let me just create an empty folder here. And so, yeah, I was going to do a video about that concerning pirate software. But then, I don't know, I didn't really care enough, to be honest. I knew I was going to draw a lot of hate from people. Like, oh, one of his fans. Like, no, I'm not one of his fans. Just pointing out facts. But, people on YouTube don't like facts. Okay, let me now switch over to there we go. All right, Visual Studio Code. I'm just going to use this. I'm going to create a new text file. And I'm just going to paste all that HTML in, just like this. I listened to one of the vids on that channel, VoiceOvers AI. You think so? Because I don't know. I kind of felt like maybe it was a real person reading a script. Because those two different channels are two different dudes. But maybe it's really good AI rendering a heavyset guy with like scruffy facial hair. I mean, the stuff's getting pretty good, All right, so let me just name this whatever. YouTube data.txt, right? All right, so we have all this text file. Well, I am not going to go in all this. So let me pull up AI, my go-to. Let me get it configured really quickly and point to the folder. So let's see, browse my folder. Let's climb. There we go. Okay. I'm going to switch this real quickly to odd. All right. Cool. Let's get to work here. I do have a file in that directory. What did I name it again? Hope I can remember my own files. All right. You are to help me with an investigation. Within investigation of a YouTube channel. You are to start by parsing the HTML data in YouTube data text and extract all channel IDs. From these channel IDs, build the YouTube URL for each video. Using YouTube is it YouTube DLP? Let me double check the, so there's a command line tool, free and open source you can install. The one there's a few of them out there. The one I have is YT-DLP, short for YouTube download. I'm telling to use YouTube DLP, which is already installed, to download the captions. Using the captions, read the scripts of the video. Using the captions, determine if the stories being told in the video are real. Also, see if the creator made any disclaimers that the content was fiction. And I want to give this a little more context. The channel I am investigating is, I'll give it the URL. I believe the creator is creating videos of fictional accidents that have happened in mountaineering and not disclosing that these stories are fiction. Stories and people are fiction. Your job is to investigate stories, locations, dates, and people named, and look for any, how do you spell corroboration? Too late. Corroboration. Any evidence of corroboration. Any evidence of corroboration. Boom. And now I'm just going to let it work. And I tell you what, having something else do this grunt work is great. I remember I had done something like this manually quite a few years ago, pre-AI with Python scripts, and it was a parsing nightmare. But yeah, this is basically what I did, and this is what I did for Pirate Software as well. When people were like, "Oh yeah, like he spends all day in every video talking about working at Blizzard." To be honest, that wasn't what I came across at all. Now, is he arrogant? Is he maybe dishonest? Sure. That's not talking about, I'm not attacking his character, but I am challenging the argument that he spent all his streams talking about working at Blizzard all the time. That's not actually what I saw. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your opinion on something like this? I'm sure some people don't care. Like, it's a fake story. I don't really care. Don't know why. It definitely bugged me, to be honest. Seeing quite a few channels coming up and having pretty high views, probably monetized, probably making money. And listen, like, I have nothing against people that can figure out how to do low effort content and make a lot of money on YouTube. If I could make 6 figures just sitting here playing video games all day and being bad at it, I probably would. But at least it's not dishonest, right? I'll admit, streaming is low effort content. turn on the camera, start talking. People watch you, they don't want you, whatever. Get super chats, whatever. But if you're not actually like lying about something, yeah, let it work, let it work, let it work. But anyways, what you all been up to lately while this is working? I kind of took a sick day from work. Been a rough week. Some of my some key names died this week. Today's was the toughest. I always loved Optimus Prime, Transformers. He's actually one of the guys I looked up to when I thought about if I might try to get into voice acting. He's one of the people I would look up to. I would try to, emulate some of Optimus Prime's, speeches. Could never come close. And then, I kind of woke up this morning just not really feeling too good. I'm like, you know what? I don't take many sick days. I'm taking a sick day. Slept in and got up and just worked on my software. Did a lot of debugging on it. I think I got 3 more beta testers. I have to actually check my email on that in a little bit here. Actually, I can probably do that right now. We're all waiting on this. Let's see. Have anything interesting coming up here? Might game later. I don't know. I got a few things I have to work on. Cool. It's really amazing. I just really consider, for me, like AI is in many ways just advanced Google. Now, I know Google actually defaults to kind of AI searches, but it won't get super deep like this. In this case, I can just give it some text files, some metadata. I probably could have actually just pasted the HTML tags right in to the chat. I actually like to put stuff on disks. A lot of times what it does, if I use the coding mode, it will gives a good place to write all the temporary files, all the transcripts, everything. Now it's just chugging away. I guess I don't know. Mike Zero doesn't bug me like this guy is, because he's not talking about, like, people dying. He just makes up goofy news about Hollywood and celebrities and stuff like that. And I think for the most part, people watching Zero know he's just satire. Reading a lot of comments on these channels, I don't think people realize what they're hearing is BS. I guess being, an avid outdoorsman, someone who's done a lot of hiking in a lot of places that they talk about in these videos, it does actually, it hits a little bit close to home. Because I do know people in my online groups that have died mountaineering out here in California. And it's not something I take lightly. Even some hiking groups, when I was in, she actually was all over the news. Fell off Mount Baldy and died. And she was pretty popular in one Facebook group I was in for California hikers. And she died a few years ago. I definitely don't think that's anything to make light of. I mean, people, pretty horrific, these cases. And I think there's enough real cases that do happen that you could talk about, like how it happened, how it could have been prevented, and make it an actual educational, learning experience, rather than making up full-on people and incidents that didn't happen. Let's see. Seeing some notes here. If I can zoom in on this for you. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I can. Here we go. No disclaimers in transcripts. Okay. These are highly checkable. Let me extract the core. These contain physically implausible claims. Let me verify the current seasons. Okay, so still pulling information. So people may be using AI to make these, but AI is pretty good at sniffing out its own BS. Let's see, I'm going to open up the folder. Let's jump over the folder really quickly. This works. You can see the data it's creating while it works. So let me switch over to this. So there's the data. It's still generating. A lot of parsing, a lot of logging data. Captions, text again, and this is all coming in real time as we're doing the stream. So I like working when I do this, setting up a place on disk and working like I'm doing, like it's coding session. It allows me to be able to look at a lot of this data that's coming through, see how it's handling it, get some insight what's going on here. Do you think AI can help in investigations, honestly? All right, letting it work. We use this at work. We have security incidents, pull log files from the servers, and you have like 10,000 lines, and you don't really know exactly what to look for. You knew what happened. You knew the time window happened in. And that's where AI has been very helpful, is you can like say, hey, this is all the log data, the 10,000, 15, whatever, 1,000 lines. And each line is like, tons of hash data. It can be very difficult to read. And just give us some parameters to look for, like anything between this time, this user ID, and just give a few things to look for and just set it out. And it's been really effective to help us shave hours off investigations. It's kind of baffling though for me. Is like I feel I can uncover a lot about some of these BS channels, working from home like this. But YouTube, who has access to the back end, they have the infrastructure, they have the people, they have their own AI bots. They should be more effective at figuring this out. And they're just not. They're fucking brainless sometimes. I don't get that company at all. I really don't. Okay. So finished all downloads, 0 errors. Okay, cool. 0 errors. That's good. Doing a full corpus analysis. Zero disclaimers in 1.24 million words. It's hitting all the descriptions right now of the channels. Let's see. Aggregating named victims. Probably hitting a lot of news sites right now, doing more checks. All right, word for word, identical segments. Yep, looking for recycled script passages, basically reusing their own AI written scripts, or what I think is AI written. Can't prove it, but I am very skeptical. Now, last time I did this earlier, the bot said what I found was a lot of similar incidents. So what I would guess they were doing was telling the bot to write a story and using a real story as inspiration. And then they would probably were telling their AI bot, like, oh, I'm doing some fictional writing or whatever, writing a screenplay or a story or something like that. And then they would take it and go on YouTube and pass it off as real storytelling, which is just BS. The only presence for these names is in the channel's own videos. Let me assemble the final evidence set. Yep. Why am I not surprised? This is already looking like BS. When I looked at that channel, I just had that feeling, right? But I wanted to investigate first. So let us hop back to that one. Yeah, this dude over here. I mean, I gotta admit, if AI is creating this dude, he's always got the same shirt on. That's probably where he could be, right? He's always got that black shirt on. I'm trying not to give him views, but pretty convincing. Because usually AI is creating, this is going to sound mean to say, but beautiful people. I know when I have done like AI images, it was challenging to like convince the AI. It's like you should make the person not attractive, because I don't know, like it would get offended if you call the person ugly. Like, come on, really? You're just a bot. What do you care? But try to mouse over here. And again, let's be fair. Having been around mountaineering community, homeboy here don't look like a mountaineer. Just saying. You don't look like somebody carrying a couple 100 pounds of gear up a mountain, high elevation, in the snow. Oh, okay. Let's actually listen.
Today's last climb episode, I'll go over.
Well, the audio does sound like bad, like computer microphone.
The team that guides literally begged to be banned from Everest before they ever set foot on it. They had experience.
His
sure.
hair's kind of greasy.
History of the mountain. There are few things each other aside. Within an hour of these four, there are few worst. Flatly, that he had no. She brought up Denali.
And it's got that kind of echo that people have in their house when they don't do any kind of, treatment on their walls. I mean, I think this is actually not an AI person, to be honest. So even this guy, like, I don't know. Like, let's pull up. I hate giving views, but screw, he's not monetized anymore, so the hell with him.
Welcome to the last hike. Today I'm going to uncover the Death Valley hike where three friends wasted their own water as...
I mean, it feels like a real person doing his own bad green screen, honestly.
a joke after strangers warned them to turn back. A belief that their preparation was enough, combined with the confidence that came from previous hikes, may have led them to
what I think it might be, SJ,
conditions could change. What seemed like a harmless joke became chill.
Because I was listening to talk. I was listening for certain nuances that can happen where AI stumbles over consonants sometimes. what it might sound kind of
knowing
mechanical.
what happened
It could be the he could be overusing noise reduction, because a lot of those cheap microphones or software
It was July 19th, 2017.
that do like noise reduction, even like DaVinci Resolve. If you use the voice isolation, which is really powerful, but by default when you turn on it's 100%, it sounds like ass. It really does.
In Death Valley National Park, California.
It sounds kind of nasally, kind of fake. So I would lean towards that being a possibility, honestly. And that's why his voice sounds AI-ish, is because, well, AI noise reduction. A lot of these programs do, quote, AI noise reduction. And so you do get a layer of AI on a real voice. That's why I'm leaning towards that might be the case. All right, let's take a look at the report here. Mountains in these videos are real. The people are not. This is the assessment. AI B-roll. Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Full corpus audit of The Last Climb, a YouTube channel presenting fabricated mountaineering deaths as documented fact with no disclosure anywhere on the channel. 172 videos analyzed, 1.2 million words of transcripts. Suspicion is confirmed. Every story tested against the historical record failed. The named climbers do not exist. The accidents did not occur. And several are set on dates when the events described were physically impossible. There's no disclaimer of any kind in 1.24 million words of narration in any of the 172 video descriptions or on the channel's About page. The channel does the opposite. 128 of 172 descriptions explicitly assert the stories are true. Isn't this kind of like a bannable offense on YouTube? But I guess we'd actually have to expect YouTube to do their fucking job, right? 6.8 million views so far. 0 of 9 stories corroborated. 528 named people. The channel's video listing was parsed for video IDs, yielding 172 unique videos. Captions and metadata for all 172 were retrieved with YTDLP. That's the program I mentioned. With 0 failures, that produced 123.3 hours of runtime and 1.2 million words of transcript, all that published between 17 Feb and 27 August 2026. A pace of roughly 1 video per day. That's a high pace, dude. The transcripts were scanned and full of disclosure language. Individual stories were then checked against the mountaineering historical record. Blah, 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 blah. You can read all that. I mean, you guys are literate. I don't, I'm just reading for the sake of reading. But maybe you're just like following along on your phone. So I'll read it anyways. I don't know who's all tuning in other than Fadian and SJ, but I'll probably get 5 total views on this. A full sweep for disclosure language, fiction, fictional, dramatization, reenactment, entertainment purposes, names have been changed, and any resemblances, composite character. So it shows you how it does a sweep. These are the things it looks for to try to look for disclaimers. Any mentions of fiction, fictional, any of these words. So this is how we try to determine if they've done a disclaimer. Let's see here. Sweeps across all 172 videos, returns 0 matches. Phrases used in the description, so it likes using common phrases. What really happened, the real story, the real, true stories I've researched, my ass, ever recorded. A lot of boilerplate. We explore the real stories of climbers, trekkers, and adventurers. 100% original content, fully written and narrated by our team. Hi, I'm Alex. In this video, I've researched the real stories of a cocky climber who's already dead, but he doesn't know it yet. 9 stories checked against the record, 9 failed. Wow. Unfound, contradicted. Nice big breakdown. More deaths are depicted than have actually occurred. A really good breakdown. The same invented deaths are recycled under new titles, so he recycles a lot of his stories. The clearest example is a story dated 21st May about Karen Dolev, 42, a marketing executive with a Fortune 500 Dallas, appears in 2 different videos with 2 different framings, one about inexperienced climbers, one about incredibly stupid Karens, and the scene setting narration is word for word identical in both, down to the temperature and the oxygen percentage. One video spells the name Dolev, the other Dolvi or Dolva. This is not how documented accidents behave. It's how script template behaves when it's refilled and repackaged. The publishing rate, 172 videos, 123 hours, content 191 days by a single presenter, points the same way. The channel has already been identified in the climbing press. The conclusion here was reached independently, but it's not novel. In July 26, Climbing published an article by Bruce Hildebrand, a longtime climber, former AI researcher, naming the last climb directly. Oh, wow. Yep, these accidents never happened. Last Climb produces AI-generated content, which is 100% fake. Yeah, no, this is the stuff. You know, people talk about AI slop that should be taken down. This is the kind of stuff that should be taken down. Honestly, not people who make like real videos, like I do, of my ugly ass talking and maybe use AI to make a thumbnail. This is like fully fabricated stories, everything. I mean, it's just so dishonest. You know, what does this amount to? The consequences, audience being deceived, 6.8 million views. If he was monetized, that's some money, dude. That is some money. Real people are collateral. The recurring premise is that Sherpas foresee the deaths of arrogant Westerners. Yeah. You intend to act on this, I don't know what I'm going to do. The strongest reportable elements are the combination of explicit truth claims with zero disclosure, the physically impossible dates, and their verbatim script use. YouTube's policies on synthetic content disclosure and misinformation are the relevant hooks. Note that none of the 172 videos carries YouTube's altered or synthetic content label. So this is what they should be removing off the platform. They have the tools, they have the resources, they have the access. I say they, YouTube, fucking YouTube, they have the access to the back end where they could be getting to this before people like me are seeing it. It's just amazing how incompetent that company is. Like, this should have never fallen on my radar. Their so-called bots, their algorithm should have caught this nonsense. Absolutely should have caught this and just taken it down. Honestly, just should have just taken it down. Or at least give them a warning. It's like, hey, you need to like flag everything as fictional, as AI generated, you know, and then that would be fair. So anyways, that was my video. I told you guys I'm freaking random around here. You never know what I'm going to talk about. But that was, well, what I wanted to cover today. BS hiking videos. This home, well, I said he gave up. Now he does something else because this channel he lost monetization. We still got to 17,000. Probably made a good chunk of money. And then, yeah, his new channel's already at 15K. And if they don't actually do something like actually ban the Google account, ban the IP address, ban the phone numbers. I mean, because you have to, when you're in the partner program, you have to register like a lot of personal information, your information. I know this. This channel is in the partner program. Oh, no problem, Fadian. Enjoy Sons of Anarchy. And so you have to verify the bank account and everything. So there's really no reason why these people should be able to keep hopping channels, getting remonetized, and keep making money on true, in my opinion, this is true AI slop. I said, if people do an AI music video, it's a parody. They even say AI. Cool. That I don't care about. Those Star Wars videos that were AI, they say it's AI. They admit it's AI. But they're fan films. They're just having fun. I'm actually okay with that. They're honest about what they use. So be honest, you know. And a lot of them, they aren't making money. They can't make money, or Disney will go after them. So, all right. Well, yeah, that was really it, everyone. Completely random topic, but yeah, I'm not one to really report channels, but I won't lose sleep if other people do, and take that dishonest crap offline, and make these guys go do something else. I'm not saying it has to be high effort content. Just be honest. Just make your content honest. So, all right. Well, it's been an hour and a half of me droning on about AI slop channels, but I thought maybe the live investigation here would be a cool addition. So I hope that was enjoyable. I kind of show you what I did, and if you got the access to some AI tools at home, you can do the exact same thing. It's really not that difficult. Yeah, I'm going to head out myself. So thank you, my whole 2 viewers. I'll catch you all again next time. Bye.